Hello there and welcome to another Hero Arts video. It's Michelle Short here, and today I'm going to be creating a sunset and sea using ink blending. So I'm starting off by die cutting my panel. I have taken the Earth Nature Fancy die with frame, and I have cut the frame portion off so that I could die cut that onto a panel of Hero Hues pitch black cardstock, and that's going to create a window. Next, I've taken some masking paper and I've cut that with one of the smaller dies from the Nesting Circle Infinity die set. I'm just going to place this on my panel so that I can see where I want it to be, and then I'm going to cut the bottom off, and this is going to create my sun image for the sunset. So I'm just taking some scissors and cutting that down so that it's flat at the bottom, and placing that over the top, and then I can remove that panel. I just wanted it there so that I could get the placement exactly right. And then I'm going to add some masking tape below the sun so that I can differentiate between the sky and the sea. So I'm going to work on the sky portion first, and I'm using Reactive inks for all of my ink blending. These are a hybrid ink, so they have really nice dye and pigment properties, so they blend really nicely. This colour here is the Lemon Drop, and I've just taken some of that on an ink blending tool or an ink blending brush. I'm dabbing off any excess onto a scrap piece of paper. Although these inks blend really nicely, I find that it's quite helpful just to take off any excess off the brush. It gives a really nice smooth result. So like I said, I'm using that Lemon Drop colour there at the bottom, and then I'm going to go in with the Creamsicle colour, and this is quite a pale orange. It's a really pretty colour. I do end up losing quite a lot of this colour, but I just wanted to be able to visually see where I want the red to go at the top and how far up and down it needed to be on the panel. So I'm just adding some of that colour in there, and it's muting a little bit of the yellow, but I'm going to go back in with that and add a bit more vibrancy to it afterwards. I'm just removing the excess colour off of my brush here so that I can go in with the next colour, and that is the Fruit Punch. And this is a really pretty kind of reddy orangey pinky colour, I think, and it works really nicely for sunsets, I find. So I'm just adding that on all the top of the panel, and then I'm also bringing it down towards the sides of the panel as well. Because my die cut image is an oval shape, I find that it's quite nice to kind of mimic that shape a little bit, and often with sunsets it kind of goes down sort of more towards the side of the sun as well. So just adding that across the top, and then I'm going to go back in with that Lemon Drop colour and just intensify that yellow there at the bottom. And when the two colours meet, they do create an orange as well, so I haven't kind of lost the orange colour in the middle. And then I'm just bringing that die cut over just so that I can make sure that I have enough red popping out at the top. Once I'm happy with that, I can remove that masking paper that I used for the sun, and I can go over that with the Lemon Drop colour. I wanted to make sure that this was a lighter shade, and that's why I masked that off first, so that you can definitely see that that is a sun image. So I'm just going to remove that masking tape, and I can place that on the top, covering the sky, so that I can ink blend the sea there at the bottom. In hindsight, I should have flipped over the masking tape so that there was no ink on that edge. I did get a little bit of ink transfer onto this blue here that I'm using. This is the Splash Reactive ink. So it did make a little bit of a greeny tone at the top. I was absolutely fine with that. Sea is all sorts of different colours, so it wasn't a problem for me, but if you didn't want that, I would flip over the masking tape just to make sure that you don't get any ink transfer. So I've added that splash colour, and now I'm going in with the Blue Hawaii, and I'm just going to add that across the bottom of the panel. I am going to go back in with another colour at the bottom, so this is kind of like my mid-tone colour. I do apologise that my camera doesn't like this colour for some reason, but you do see it a bit better shortly. So I'm just adding that again at the bottom and kind of going up towards the sides. And then I wanted a bit more of a deeper colour, but I wanted it to be a slightly different shade, so I'm going to go in here with some purple, and this is the Grape Slush, and this is such a pretty colour, and I think it works really nicely with the blues. Although you probably don't get much of a purple shade in the sea, I thought it was quite nice, and it kind of mimicked the the red in the sunset, I thought it looked quite pretty. So again, just adding a little bit of that at the side, bringing in that die cut panel just to make sure that you can see that purple there at the bottom, and just going over with the blending just to make sure that I'm getting it as smooth as I want it to be. I do find that the bigger the brush, the smoother the blend, and so I'm going back in here with that splash colour, that lightest blue there. And then once I'm happy with that blend, I'm going to remove the masking paper. And I did have a small area of white between the sun and the sea. I was absolutely fine with that because I think it looks kind of like a reflection on the top of the sea. I was quite happy, but it was a bit more of an accident rather than intentional. And now I'm just adding some white iridescent shimmer spray onto that panel, and it just gives a nice shimmer to the sea and the sky. While that's drying, I'm going to add a ton of foam tape onto the back of my die cut panel here. As you can see, I've just added lots of little pieces of that. This is quite an intricate die, so this did take some time. If you didn't want to have it dimensional, then you could definitely just add this flat onto the inked panel, but I did want some dimension to it, so that's why I used the foam tape. But you could also die cut the panel maybe 3 or 4 times, or maybe even 5 times, and just stack those on top of each other, and that would give you the dimension as well. But I really like how that foam tape works. So I'm just sticking that down onto my inked panel here, and I'm just going to cut the excess there off the top. I didn't quite lay it on straight. And then I'm going to add some tape runner onto the back of this panel, and then I'm going to add it onto an A2 sized card base, and this is made from more of the pitch black cardstock, so that's a finished size of 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And next I'm going to work on this sentiment. So I've taken this sentiment here from the Beautiful World set. I'm going to stamp that onto some more pitch black cardstock, just using an anti-static powder tool there. And then I'm inking up the stamp with clear embossing and Watermark ink, using the mini Misty here so that I get a nice impression. And then I'm going to apply some white detail embossing powder, just tapping off the excess there, and then I can heat set that until it's completely melted. And then I'm going to cut that down into a strip. And then just using some tape runner adhesive on the back of that. And then I'm just going to add that in the top right hand corner of the card. Just using a T-square ruler there just to make sure that it's going to be straight. And then once I'm happy, I can press down. And that's the card finished for today. I really like how the vibrancy of the ink blending works with the black cardstock. Links to the products that I used will be in the description bar here on YouTube, and also over on the Hero Arts blog. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.